If you are feeling overwhelmed by the sheer amount of data that you are looking at and trying to figure out how you take it from data to insights so that you can drive informative, impactful, transformative decisions, this is the episode for you. Data can be so overwhelming, but if you present it well, it has the power to make such deep impacts. Welcome to Tipsy Thursdays. I am your show host, Juanita Coley, the contact center whisperer, the CEO and founder of Solid Rock Consulting. And I'm super excited to be diving into this topic around letting the numbers tell the story. And how do you do that? And so this week I'm joined by none other than Epic Josh Landing. Super excited to be having this conversation with you. So, I think this topic is so amazing for us to be having a conversation. However, that can be very problematic and sometimes it can pose a big challenge because again, it having lots amount of data, especially in an age where we are having big initiatives around AI and automating things and making sure that we are leveraging technology at our disposal, data is so critical to that. And so sometimes we can get paralysis by analysis though, if we dive too deeply or that data is just data and it's not insights. That's why we're talking about this topic of letting your numbers tell the story and how do we do that, right? So my first question that I have for you, Josh, is what's a tip or a piece of advice that you would give someone who is either in a WFM role and they're growing in their career or an executive? What piece of advice or tip would you give to either audience, WFM or operations and executive leadership?
Yeah, so for the WFM side, I mean, they kind of both align to the same way I would probably go about it is, go back and just check your numbers. Even if you got to go old school and kind of manually, calculator it, not use formulas or anything like that. Just go back and do it yourself just to make sure everything's kind of lining up. Review your formulas if you are using them, right? And then just kind of be like, okay, well, why are these numbers? What are you looking at that's not right? And then let's see what we can figure out why it doesn't look right. Is it a trend that just doesn't match the trends that you've been doing, or it's just an anomaly. It was a bad day or a bad month or whatever time frame you're looking at, and try to figure out what's not looking right. And then as far as the executive, tell them, be like, hey, this is the data is accurate, I've already reviewed it, type thing. Sometimes you don't have an explanation as to why it occurred. If it's just like one of those anomalies where forecasts and trends had absolutely no meaning to the call volume or whatever, and it was just completely out of the blue, different than what it's ever been. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, and I think that that's even a data point, right? And that's even a story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
As we're talking through this and we're talking about allowing your numbers to tell a story, that is even a story in and of itself. Hey, I've double checked my numbers, triple checked my numbers. One of the things that we talk about in the book, right? WFM Go Beyond, right? Just non-shameless plug, not at all. Again, if you don't already know, okay, if you haven't tuned in yet, you haven't understood this yet, we are using WFM Go Beyond, the book I released in 2024, just last year. We're using that as a guide for these conversations because, again, we want to do more than talk. We want to start to work through these challenges so that we can go beyond. So we have the workbook as well. So we have the book and the workbook. You can grab a copy at wfmgobeyond.com, right? One of the things we talk about in the book is data. And how you do data analysis, about, the process of data collection, analyzing data, and then also talking about how do we actually report out on that data to stakeholders. And so when you're looking and you're collecting data from your various sources, where this data point came from the ACD, or this data point came from CRM, or this data point came from a manual input because it was from a back office function, or wherever the data came from, and you've now analyzed that data, you've understood it. One of the stories that you're telling is, hey, I've done that, and this is an anomaly. right? So this is an anomaly that we can expect to not happen again. Or if it does happen again, this is our business as usual, right? And this is how we should perform, or this is what the expectation is. And anything outside of here is what? An outlier. We aren't responding or reacting because we understand, oh, that's an outlier, right? We fix it, we address the issue, and then we return to business as usual. I love that tip because I've seen WFM leaders and operational leaders look at something, can't explain it, and that causes this craze reaction and this chaos because they're like, well, I don't know. One of the greatest challenges to the human race, right? Humanity is not understanding. They fear what they don't understand. When we are introduced to new change and we don't understand a thing, we're like, oh, I don't know about it. And so anytime we can't explain a data point in the contact center, or we don't understand why this thing happened, we automatically start to kind of get this fear and start to react, when what we need to understand is, hey, this actually was an anomaly, right? So all our other business trends say this, and this is how we perform. It comes in true to X, Y, and Z. This is an anomaly. So how do I prepare for it and create contingencies for these type of anomalies if they should ever occur again? And I think that's telling a story in and of itself as well. Hey guys, listen, so y'all know I'm a data nerd, and 88% of you guys that are watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. So if you are finding value in this content, can I ask you to do me a favor? Could you subscribe to our channel? What this allows us to do is to continue to keep adding value, bringing insights and the latest in trends around customer experience, employee experience, business profitability, workforce management. Thank you so much for being here. You are truly valued. We appreciate if you would subscribe and follow us for more information. So my next question that I wanted to dive into is, like, what are some of the common myths or challenges that you've seen, whether it's currently or just over the tenure of your career, when working with mass amounts of data and needing it to tell a story, whether it's for operations or whether it's for your ELT team, your executive leadership team, any other stakeholders, IT? What are some of those common challenges or common myths?
A favorite, what I consider a myth, is percentages. Looking at your percent of delivery or whatever, right? If you're dealing with small numbers, you can have drastic swings one way or the other, like over delivery or under delivery. If we're just talking like hours, right? If you got 100 hours on the day and you deliver 110, well, 10 hours isn't all that bad. But when you look at the percentage, 110%, your executives are like, well, wait, why do we over deliver all that much? We can't bill for that much, or we can't, that's whatever type thing. When you're a BPO, you got to really look at those types of things. It's like, well, chill out. 110% is not bad because it's only 10 hours. Yes, 10 hours will add up over and over and over again, but on a single day, 10 hours isn't all that much. So I think looking only at percentages is not always showing a good story.
It doesn't always tell the story, right? I absolutely love that. And I got to steal that. Chill out, man. No, but I absolutely love that. And so it sounds like what you're saying is one of the common challenges and or myths when allowing the data or the numbers to tell a story is that making sure it gives the accurate picture, right? Because if we're using percentages solely, if we haven't put that in context, right, then that can be very challenging for multiple reasons. One, we don't have clarity, which is one of the big things. We want to have clarity on what we're actually talking about. And then second, because we want to drive a certain experience. And so if we're just dealing with percentages or not giving clarity and context to that, then it doesn't really tell the story that you need it to tell. So I think that that's super cool that you highlighted on that, because I see a lot of times people do have a challenge. They have data galore. They're some of the smartest people on the face of the earth, right? They're just dealing with so much data and dealing in data. But if you don't give that context, then as an executive or as the person who needs to make a business decision on something, I don't know what I don't know. And so I have these knee-jerk reactions. And instead of responding, I'm constantly reacting. And we want to be in a mode this year, right, as transformative leaders, we want to be responding, right? We want to be predictive, right? Being ahead of the curve. But then when unknown knowns and knowns come up and different things that come up, we want to respond. And I think that's one of the key distinctions to being a transformative leader. Hey, transformative leader, listen, have you grabbed your copy of WFM Go Beyond? Go and grab your copy at WFMGoBeyond.com. WFM Go Beyond is sectioned into two sections. Section 1 is the foundation and the fundamentals of workforce management. The core 4, you've heard me talk about this: data gathering, forecasting, scheduling, intraday. But section 2 is the part that I get super excited about, especially for 2025, because we are pushing and encouraging and challenging leaders to go beyond and push into transformative impact. And section 2 is going to do that to help you understand how you tie your WFM strategy into your CX initiatives, your EX initiatives, and business profitability goals. So if you're an operational leader, executive, a WFM leader that has a operations efficiency goal, okay, and you want to drive transformative impacts, WFM Go Beyond is your resource. So go to WFMGoBeyond.com and grab your copy today. Bye. If you just had to give a, like, hey, this is my final thought on data or making your numbers tell a story, what would be one of those final pieces of advice that you would give to any listener that if what we haven't covered yet?
Well, probably don't overload them with numbers. You want to have, if you're using a PowerPoint, let's just go that way. More slides, less numbers, I think is probably a better way to go rather than less slides and more numbers. Like if you got to show 5 different graphs versus 3 different graphs, show 5. Because if you overload them with a graph and it's got 4 or 5 different metrics on it, they're not going to know what they're looking at. They're not going to be able to absorb it, to understand it all, and realize what all these things are. Now, if it's delivery versus forecast and things like that, with for columns and then like a line for your percentage delivery, yeah, something like that on one graph, and then anything else that's for that particular week or time frame, whatever you're using, different graph, different slide. That's the easiest way to lose your people and have them not fully ingest what you're presenting is too much stuff in one small of an area.
I absolutely love that. Visuals, right, is what I heard, right?
Yeah.
Use visuals as much as possible because,
Yeah.
that has worked since the beginning of time. Right before we understood all the data, what do we have? Pictographs, and cavemen were writing on walls, right? So if it was good enough for them, if it was good enough for them, by golly, it's good enough for us, right? And so how do we use visuals to tell stories that will transform and also communicate the message? Because communication, I think, this is key, right? Communication is about sending a signal and receiving a signal and interpreting that message as designed. And so if we do that with graphs, whether we do that with pictures, however we need to tell that story, right, is so important. And so I love how you say, like, it doesn't matter if you use $1,000,000 words or you use all of these numbers and all of those different things. If you didn't communicate the message that needed to be communicated and get the desired outcome that needed to happen, you didn't really effectively communicate. And so many times we have super smart people that are getting pigeonholed into and getting stifled in their career because they're just smart, right? But we have to be more than smart. We have to be transformative. And that's the theme for this year, is going beyond just being smart or doing the basics or doing the tactics. It's about how do we go beyond and push into transformation and impact a human experience, not just employees, not just customers, but how do we impact a human experience and drive the results that our organizations need so that we can not only thrive, but again, be transformers. People want transformation. Customers want transformation. Employees want transformation. We need transformation, and we have to go beyond in order to do that. Well, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us. You could be anywhere in the world and you didn't think it robbery to come hang out with me and the audience and share your wisdom. So I really, really appreciate that. Also, make sure you visit us on YouTube, right? Make sure you visit us on YouTube for other episodes. Until next time, guys, go be great and let's make impact. See you guys soon. Bye.